Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sara Jane. I am delighted for the programme. I can say this evening, actually, because we're both in the UK. I am delighted for this evening's programme to be joined by Paula J Roscoe. Paula, so thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. It's beautiful to be here again.
Yes, it's been a while.
2 years. I can't believe where that 2 years has gone. Wow.
Paula is going to be sharing with us today about Are You an Everyday Woman Who Honours the Woman Within, which is the title of a new magazine. But before we go, her new magazine, before we go any further, let me introduce Paula with her bio. God, my tongue's getting tied here. Paula is the best-selling author of Survive Grief and Come Back to Life, memoir of a survivor alongside gripping historical mysteries that keep readers turning pages late into the night. Known globally as the grief guru, Paula brings over 20 years of experience helping women release grief and trauma, guiding them back to life with strength and purpose. Through one-to-one work and powerful online programs, she supports deep healing, transformation, and renewal. As a spiritual medium, Paula works holistically, understanding that trauma impacts the mind, body, and spirit, creating profound, lasting change in the lives of those she helps. A passionate women's rights activist, Paula is unwavering in her belief that women's rights must be protected and respected. She founded Everyday Woman to reach and support more women worldwide. Through its much-loved Grief Corner, Paula answers real-life struggles and creates a safe space for women to share their stories, reminding every reader that they are never alone unless they choose to be. And Janet, hi, welcome. Paula, thank you so much for joining us. Please share a little about you, your story, and why the magazine?
Why the magazine? Well, because I'm mad. I think I thought, oh, well, you know what? I've got 5 minutes. Why not? I had this epiphany kind of thing on September the 1st last year. And I was sitting wondering how I wanted my life to go. I loved everything I did, but it still felt like I wasn't reaching enough women. I wasn't helping enough. I wasn't supporting enough because I'm one woman. And yes, I can do one-to-one with women. And yes, I can do workshops and things. But it felt like there was still a lot of women out there who were struggling with their grief. They're struggling with their trauma. And they felt alone. You know, throughout the years, I've been talking to a lot of women and they all felt like they were alone. And that just kept going round and round in my head all the way through the summer last year. And September the 1st, I remember sitting in this chair thinking, well, what am I going to do? And as you said, I'm a spiritual medium, and I immediately heard from my angels, well, when are you going to start that magazine? I thought, oh, yeah. And I went back to my diaries going back 10, 15 years, and I can see little bits in it saying, what kind of magazine would I want to offer women? I hate women's magazines. Why would I want to offer a women's magazine? But every so often, it seemed like I was coming up with the same thing. What kind of magazine could I offer women? What would women like to learn about? What are they sick and tired of reading in your traditional women's magazines? So on the 1st of September, I listened and I put it out on social media and I said, okay, if I started a woman's magazine that's not like any other woman's magazine, who's interested? And I had so much positive feedback from women. Oh, God, yes. And because they can feel it. You know, it's like when I open a woman's magazine when I'm in a doctor's, or if I'm, you know, like in the old days, you used to be able to pick up a magazine and stuff. It was so belittling. It was subliminal messaging. You're too fat, you're too thin, you're not a good enough wife, you're not a good enough mother. Do this, do that, be better. And I thought, sod that. I'm not doing that, you know? So I wrote my first magazine in 4 weeks, and I launched it on, it was supposed to be the 1st of October, but my mother-in-law died. So out of respect for her, we left it for a few days, and I actually launched it on the 5th of October. And then I went to Scotland for 2 weeks, like I do, because I trusted it. You know, I trusted that if it's meant to be there, then the women will read it. And women did read it. And I had 2 women who got in touch with me and they said, I want to write for you. Yeah, okay, let's bring it. So I have women from all over the world who want to come and give me some articles, you know, and I'm okay, let's do it. And it's all about self-love. It's all about healing. It's about supporting. And as you said at the beginning, you know, there's a grief corner where women can send me their problems and their grief issues, because more often than not, there will be someone who, not 100% the same, but they will be feeling the same feelings as you are. They'll be going through the same thoughts as you are. They'll be going through the same problems, the same process as you are. And what I actually want to start doing, and I've mentioned it to a few of my readers now, is that I would like to start creating a grief pen pal system, you know, where women can sort of look at each other and go, yeah, I'm dealing with that. Can we talk, you know, across the world, you know, because it's amazing, obviously, what we can do in, you know, with the internet and stuff. So, and I've had a few women say, yeah, you know, I really fancy that. Going back to the old way, you know, where you use a pen and paper and you actually send a letter. That's what I would like to do. I don't want to do all this email stuff or messenger stuff or anything like that, unless they choose to. But I would really like to go back to old school, you know, from my generation, because I had about 5 or 6 pen pals when I was growing up and I loved it. Yeah.
Seriously, the part of that to me is it doesn't become instant. It's you've got something to look forward to. It's like in the old days, the series on the television, you'd have one episode every week and you'd have to wait for a whole week for the next episode to find out what happened.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't an instantaneous thing. It wasn't, right, there's episode 1 and you've got episode 2 immediately. There was no anticipation, no excitement. What's going to happen next?
Oh, no. Doctor Who was terrible for me. It's like, come on, Thursday. You know, on top of the pops.
Yeah, that was always Thursday, straight after Tomorrow's World.
That's
Sorry,
right.
folks.
Oh, nostalgia. Yeah.
We're showing our ages. But I love that. We're losing so much of what helped the world tick over at a gentle pace. It's become too hectic. And it's about helping us, isn't it, to become quieter, more relaxed, not... Oh, Sarah, how often do you check your emails? A couple of times a day. You know, sort of, and if you're in the States, I've usually turned my computer off by the time you send me an email, so you have to wait for the following day. That's fine. But that thought of a letter, it's sitting down and writing it and posting it and being able to have that envelope to open and read. Something to be able to hold on to. It's like having a book, isn't it?
Oh, gosh, yeah.
People who've got these Kindles and read ebooks and whatever, but being able to hold a physical book in your hand.
It's, for me, holding something like that's been written, you know, like a book and stuff, it's a magical thing. It's a connection to the author, you know, so I don't know how anyone can give away books or lend books. I could never do that because I've bought it. It's my book. I'm reading it. I'm making that connection with that author. And honestly, if you saw my library, it's horrendous. And my husband will say to me, but Paula, if we ever move, I said, it's all coming with me. because it's mine. I've created that connection. And so a letter that someone has taken time to write and to share information or whatever it is such a beautiful connection. I think it's so much better than an email or a text or anything like that, which, I mean, I've been watching it over the years, this text speech. It's actually not helping people's grammar or their punctuation or actually how they speak. I've noticed my daughter starting to use words and I'm like, what does that mean? You know, it's just like she says half the word. And it's like, no, we're not going there. No, we speak, we say the words, words have power. So, and I think there's also this thing about, because people want instant gratification all the time, to have a letter, it gives you that sense of pause, because people don't do the pause anymore. They're so wanting next. But there's something beautiful about having a sacred pause and taking that time to reflect, to establish what it is you want to share and how that feels to share before you share. Whereas people just go, bleh, you know, and it all comes tumbling out, and then they go, oh, shit, shouldn't have said that. But it's all out. It's then, it's done. It's you know, it's on the email. It's been sent. It's text. It's been sent. They don't take that time. And I think it's our generation. You know, I mean, I'm 55, and I think when I talk to women who are 20, 30 years old, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Because they've been brought up just with technology. And for me, it's a real shame. But at the same time, the magazine is online. And at the moment, as much as I would really, really love it, I would love to be able to afford to make it paper. I can't. But that is something that I am just sending out to the universe. You know, if I'm meant for this to become, you know, paper, please let it happen. Please. I'm a good girl. Yeah. You know.
Well, I'm 68, so I got 13 years on you. So,
oh, bless you.
Seriously, the technology, I do this, but the technology, it's like, I will not have a modern mobile phone. When I go for my walk in the woods, I haven't even got the tiny little thing that doesn't connect to the internet, which is mine for emergencies when I drive down to my mum's. I haven't even got that on me. There are times you've got a mobile phone, take it with you. Why?
I was given a mobile phone. I didn't touch it for 10 years. It was in the car glove compartment. My father-in-law bought it for me. You know, the pay as you go. And he said, Paul, you still got £10 on it. I said, what do I want a mobile phone for? You know, I remember the days when we had red phone boxes and you'd go up to a stranger's house and say, look, I've got 10p. I really need to phone someone. And people would let you use their phone because it was usually in the hallway anyway. Yeah. You know, that's how I grew up. But now it's become, oh God, no, you're not allowed to go in strangers' houses, or don't go without your phone anywhere. But I do. I mean, the latest thing I've come across now that my husband thinks it's hilarious. The last year, people are starting to talk about QR codes, these little squares. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
And they're going, now, what you do, if you want to buy something, you put your phone on. And my phone's going, oh, shut up. I don't even know what that is. You know, because my phone doesn't do that. My phone's really old. And it's just, and they're going, put your phone over this QR. No, my phone's going, no, I'm not doing that. You know, I say to people, no, if you want me to buy something, give me a bloody link. I'm not using your code because my phone won't do it.
Yeah, and I hope people listening to this are thinking, we can live in the real world rather than the tech world.
Yeah.
Because that's what's bad. But Janet's put a comment here.
Yeah.
There is the Handwritten Letter Appreciation Society. Which is in Swanage, which is along the coast from us down here. Oh. So there is a handwritten letter appreciation society.
Oh, lovely. That's lovely. I've never heard of those, but Janet, I love the sound of that. I do. You know, because when I'm doing therapy with women, the first thing they'll do more often than not is pick up a Kindle thing, an ebook, and they'll be there with their pretend pen. And I'll go, right, put that down. Go and get a pen and paper. What? Yeah, go and get a pen and paper. I'll wait. Because there is something so powerful that when you're doing writing therapy, you write with a pen and paper or pencil and paper, whatever it is. Because typing, it doesn't get to the right place. It doesn't get to the deepest part of you. But writing from your heart space, wow, that's where the magic really happens. And I've watched women, I've worked with women who are severely depressed after, some awful grief and trauma. And I've watched them become human again, become women again, find themselves again, just from the act of using a pen on paper and then tearing up that paper. Oh, that is one of the most cathartic things I do with clients. I had one and she was severely depressed. She was very, very aggressive. I mean, she was violently aggressive. And I brought in a huge, brand new, big wad of A4 paper. And we did some work. And then I said, there you go. She tore that thing to confetti. She really went at it, full on, screaming, shouting, the whole shebang. She turned to me, am I allowed to swear? She said at the end, that was brilliant. Let's do it again. She's never been aggressive since. She found a way of getting so deep within her and bringing out what it was that was making her aggressive through writing pen and paper. Now, I know for a fact there was no way she could have got there with a Kindle.
No.
There's something so superficial about Kindles. I will never read a book on a Kindle. And people will say to me, oh, Paula, that's a bit, your books are available as ebooks. And yes, they are, because I have to provide for both. But I really, 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 really wish people would just go for the paperbacks. But, people will say to me things like, well, I'm going on holiday and I want to put as many books as I can on my Kindle. Okay, I kind of get that to a point. But for me, personally, it didn't matter where I went on holiday. It was always a book or two shoved in my. I'd leave knickers behind and just shove my books in. I'd rather just take one pair of knickers and loads of books, and I'd just wash my knickers every day. There you go. I told that to the world. There you are.
But that writing, having things like sound shares, or even working with people, again, it's the trauma side of things, and write it down. But when I've done the sound shares, I did one time that we had like a fire outside, like a bonfire, but it was a sort of done more of as a campfire. And it was just like everybody was given a piece of paper, and it's just like, whatever you want to write on it. Now we're going to burn it. And I've got an open fireplace, so we have done those indoors as well. When it's not the right weather to have a log fire going, but that ability. But I say to people, okay, write something down on that piece of paper, especially something you wish to release, and you can burn it, or you can drown it, and you can bury it. So you're going into the tearing it up. But it's all that ability to say, I'm releasing it. I'm destroying it. I'm letting it go. For me, I have to do this on a regular basis when I have a grumble at other drivers. It's, I release to the light with love.
Oh, you're more polite than I am.
Oh, no. What I have said before that, it's just like, release to the light with love.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of go with the, okay, I've got to forgive myself for other drivers and the way they made me feel.
Yes.
And I forgive them. And I hope I never come across them again. Thanks very much. I'm the reality check, isn't it? The reality check is, people will say to me, oh, Paula, we kind of expect you to be a bit, because you do all. And I said, no. I keep it real. Someone really gave me a beautiful, beautiful compliment. One of my clients, she finished the 6-week course with me, oh gosh, a month ago. And she said, Paula, you've got to be one of the most authentic women I've ever met, because you say it how it is. You know, you're not going to make it all airy-fairy and talk to me like I'm just, talking like... No, I will tell you how it is, because I went through a load of abuse. I survived it. I survived attempted murder. I survived the death of my son. I've survived a hell of a lot. Recently, which is one of the reasons that sort of I had to sort of take a break over last summer. I don't mind saying I had a bit of a health scare. I had a biopsy. I needed to take care of myself. So it was one of those, okay, I have to take time. This is my body. I have to listen to my body. What is my body telling me? And my body was basically saying, will you just stop and just start doing what you want to do instead of what you think people want? And as soon as I made that shift and accepted it and really felt into it, like I do with my clients, I did all the exercises that I use with my clients, and it shifted. And as soon as you shift that energy, the universe goes, right, she's ready. Here we go. There you are. I'm going to bring this for you now. I'm going to bring that for you now. But like we were saying before we went on air, you have to flow with it. It's very easy for me to try and drive my life, because I know I know where I want to be. I know what I want, but I can't make it happen. I have to allow it and just stay positive, which I know is one of the hardest things, because believe me, I am the most impatient woman you'll ever meet. I want it yesterday. No, in fact, I want it last week, but I'm not going to get it until I am ready. And so there was something that I really, really wanted, and it hasn't happened yet. And when I really started to be honest with myself and did some of the work that I do with women, it's not the right time now. There's too much going on. I need to be where I am now, doing the magazine and doing all the other bits and pieces that I do.
I think it's also about making space for new things to come in.
Yeah.
And I know that's going to be happening with me sort of before the end of June, because of everything that's going on at the moment. Most of that will be gone.
Okay.
Obviously, this on a regular weekly basis, that stays. And there have been times when I've got the dowsing pendulum out, do you want me to continue with this? And the answer goes yes. And it's just like, fine. But Janet's put another comment. The above is a charitable organisation. There is also a Pen Pals worldwide group, handwritten letters only.
Oh, I will look into that. Because like I say, this magazine for women, this is, someone asked me not that long ago, well, why did you choose the word everyday woman? Where did that title come from? And the idea was to have a magazine that everyday women can associate with, because it deals with issues that affect women every day. And I want women to sort of have pen pals, and I want women to have connection with other everyday women, that they can resonate with, that they can sort of form attachments with, that we can, form friendships with and stuff like that. So it's very important to me to have the pen pal thing. And this, I'm actually going to put that into the June magazine. Now that I've had some positive, quite fancy that. I'm going to see, okay, well, if you really mean it, let's start having some interaction between women. And I'm not sure how that's going to go yet, whether it's to have just women's names, where they are, and then if people are interested, I would then pass on their personal information. I think that's probably the best way to go, because sadly you still have, it's a sad thing, but you do still have people out there who would take advantage of that. So it is about being safe. It's about keeping women safe, obviously. I think that's probably how it's going to go. So hopefully from June, the next issue, we'll have some women getting interaction. Yeah.
So if somebody wishes to come and write for the magazine, how does that work?
Well, there's an email, everydaywoman111@gmail.com, and they contact me there, or they can contact me on my Facebook. A lot of the times the women have messaged me on Messenger and said, "Oh, I'm interested in, can I write about?" I'm like, yeah, okay, as long as it affects women. So in the issue that just went out, it goes out on the 1st of every month. A woman is writing a beautiful piece about self-love and how important that is for women. And I have a woman who, she travels the world. She's an amazing woman called Susie. And this will be her second article she's written. And they're all around traveling, but she mingles it into about a life lesson, if you like. So the one she's just written is The Art of Leaving Without Waiting. And it's such a profound article about how women tend to wait for permission to go and do something that they want to do, just in case someone might need me, you know? And she had this profound thought when on one of her travels, she really wanted to go somewhere, but she wasn't sure if her son would need her, or her mum might need her, or someone's birthday was coming up. And she was umming and ahhing about whether or not to go. And she had this epiphany, actually, no, just go. They're not going to miss me. You know, they love me, but I need to live my life. And it was such a beautiful piece. Absolutely beautiful. You know, so there's lots of things. I interview a different woman every month. This month was an amazing woman who was also on my talk show last month, called Sara Shulock. And she is sober. She works with women. She is a survivor of abuse. She is, you know, she goes and helps women do various things and do some healing. And she was an amazing woman to interview. So yeah, we've got loads in there. We've got, as I say, we've got the grief corner. We do a simple ritual every month that every woman can do. The last 2 months, we've been focusing on the vagina, the yoni, you know, how sacred. And because women are feeling very disconnected from their bodies at the moment, you know, with things that are going on with, I mean, you know, there's awful things happening for women all over the world, and women are feeling that disconnection. So it was about going back to basics, you know, connect in with yourself, with your vagina, with your womb, with your, you know, and we were doing sort of rituals around that. We always review a book. We try to review products that help women. So we had menopause products. We've had what helps, what hinders menopause. You know, we have all kinds of stuff. You got to read it. You know, but the thing is, if you subscribe, I always allow you to have the last 2 issues for free. So you've always got 3 months. Because I'm like that. Yeah.
I'm sort of listening to sort of what you're saying, and I'm just thinking, because last year I sort of brought out a book. Now, I did get guys to participate in this book. But that book is called I Didn't Become Selfish, I Became Harder to Manipulate.
Yes.
But yeah, actually the guys' stories are just as important in that. But it's stories from childhood, it's stories from teens, it's stories from adults. And all of them, it was for each of us, it's finding our power within. It's learning to say no to others and yes to ourselves. So I appreciate that what you're doing is for women.
Yeah.
And I get that. But the stories in that book, it doesn't, to a certain degree, to me, doesn't matter whether it's male or female. It's what an individual went through.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Men are just as important. I actually had someone say to me last week, "Are you a man hater?" I said, "God, no." I said, "I've been married 34 years. I love him to bits. He's my soulmate. I love men. I'm surrounded by beautiful men. I'm surrounded by men who would never allow a woman to be harmed. I'm surrounded by men who respect women. But sadly, there are men out there who let the male side down. And of course, there's women out there who can be just as cruel. But for me, what I was seeing is that the reason I sort of decided to do a women's magazine specifically for women is because women were feeling very disconnected from each other. There was these huge gaps, and the bitchiness was taking over, and the attacking was taking over. And it was like, hang on a minute. There's something so beautiful about a sisterhood when it is women looking after women, when you honor the woman within, mind, body, and spirit. There is something so powerful about that. And slowly over time, I've started to get women working together, coming together, talking to each other. And there is something so, I don't know, I sit back sometimes and I just watch it all happen. It's like, wow, that's beautiful. Women are really starting to reconnect with their self. They're finding their own power, and they are, as you said, they're saying no. You can't make me, you can't manipulate me. And I think that's I remember when that book came out, it was beautiful. Absolutely right. It's not being selfish. And that's the thing. That is the thing I'm coming across all the time. If I say to women, look, you are allowed to take an hour's break and sit on your arse, feet up, make yourself a cup of tea and read my magazine, read one of my books, or just sit and do nothing. Oh, no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. Why can't you do that? Well, because I'm selfish. That would be, I'm lazy. Well, where did these stories come from? Who gave you these stories? You weren't born with these stories. So where did they come from? And it's childhood. You have to go back to childhood, heal that wound. Right, let's move forward. Let's heal that one. Where did that one come from? And they realized that they weren't even theirs. How often, I can't even tell you how often I will ask a woman, do you even put yourself second or third? Or actually, are you even in the queue?
Exactly.
And they go, well, after husband, then there's child, then there's nana, then there's, hang on a minute. Where are you?
Yeah.
Because you have to be right at the front of the queue. And you have to be so stable within yourself, within your own power, before you can start looking after everybody else. And that includes your kids. Otherwise, you're teaching them that they must never be in the queue as well. Oh, yeah. But sometimes you just do. You need somebody to look at it from the outside in. Because when you're living it and breathing it, you can't see it. Not all the time. You can feel it. You can absolutely feel it. You wonder where all the exhaustion is. Why you've got no libido. You're wondering why you're just angry all the time. You're frustrated all the time. Why are you putting on weight? While you're just eating anything? While you're eating all those 4 donuts that come from Tesco's? Yeah. Why are you glugging down 2 bottles of wine? Because you're feeling it. You just don't know where it is or why it is. And hopefully, the magazine will help women find the answer, or at least give them a start. Because I can't work with every single woman on this planet, but I can try and reach as many as I possibly can.
And I absolutely get that. It's, sort of, I've got my own book that's come out. I'm part of, by the end of June, I'll be in 6 books that I've shared a chapter in.
Beautiful.
And it's about the sharing. It's about what supported me. And where was I on my list? And I don't have kids, but where was I on my list? I didn't even exist on my list. That's the negativity, the insecurities that some people have, they aren't on the list.
Yeah.
The people pleasers, what's gone on for them, and I get it because I've been there. And it was getting to that point of stop worrying about what that was the wake up. That one of the biggest wake ups. Why am I worrying about what other people think about me when they're not? And it was that when they're not that hit the chord. Because majority of the time, other people aren't thinking about you because of all the stuff they've got going on in their own lives.
Absolutely.
Or
Absolutely.
they're worrying about what you're thinking about them when you're not. It's a vicious circle. And in an aeroplane, what do they say? Mother has to put their oxygen mask on first so that they can.
Yeah.
How many times have I said to clients, give yourself some regular me time?
Yeah.
If you don't, you are not going to be able to, but my mother's sick, my mother's got this, or this is that. And if you don't give you don't give yourself that me time, that downtime, that relaxed time, that rest time, that space, doesn't matter how ill that other person is, you could go before them, and then what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Take care of you, give yourself that self-care. It's not about whether they come to me for sessions for Reiki or Indian head massage or whatever it is. That's why I do my daily walks into the local woods. That's my me time. That's out in nature. What works for you?
Yeah.
That gets your head out of what's going on. At night, I do a Sudoku or a code word or something. I get my head out of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever works for you. I'm not an avid reader. I write masses, but I'm not an avid reader, which seemed quite ironic, to be perfectly honest. But it's thinking about what little things can you do for yourself that gets your head out of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I've started doing the last 2 months, I'd say. I go on YouTube at night because I've always been a terrible sleeper ever since I had my daughter, and she has special needs. So I was up a lot anyway. But now the slightest noise and I'm awake. So what I've started doing, because my angel said, Paul, you need to be meditating more. You need to be coming down and grounded because you're giving up, you're doing healing work. You're doing a lot of this. You're doing a lot of that. You need to come down. So I went on YouTube and I go on the Hertz.
Yeah.
And I just pick one at random. I'll just go that one. And I actually do close my eyes, that one. And when I look and see what it is, it makes so much sense. God, yeah, that's what I need. That's what I need. And I'll just listen to that until I'm drifting off to sleep. And then I'll just pull them out and I'm off. And it's really, really working. Really working. A friend of mine, he started doing binaural beats. And he says that works for him. I had a go, but I got a bit annoyed with it. I said, I don't want to be annoyed. I want to be drifting off into sleep. So I said I needed something, so a friend of mine said, well, try Hertz, the different Hertz things. And there's another one that I listen to, Geraldine Glass on YouTube, and she does crystal bowls. And it might just be 15, 20 minutes or something, but it is just beautiful, really beautiful. So I definitely recommend anything like that. And I'm like you. Yeah, I walk the dog every morning. It's like okay, this is what I've got through the day. And I can think about how I'm going to progress, how I want my day to be. And it's also showing gratitude. It's sort of saying to the world, thank you, I'm still alive. Really appreciate that. Thank you, tree. Thank you, grass. Thank you, sun. The sun's coming now in the UK, I really appreciate you being here and sort of, look at this beautiful flower. I thank you. Thank you. I probably look a bit mental from people watching me on the golf course, but I don't really care.
Exactly.
Exactly. Who's she talking to? I don't care. Yeah. So, and that's the thing, it's living in gratitude is a beautiful thing, and when I talk to people about that, they go, well, what do? You just thank everything. I said, no, but in myself, I might sort of just say, oh, I really appreciate that. Thank you. There's no harm in saying that, in feeling that, and it changes your perception. You can't be angry and grateful at the same time. So when something awful is happening, I try and look, and sometimes it's difficult, but I could be like, I've had shingles for I'm in my almost 5th week now, and it's one of the most painful things I've had to deal with. But again, it's the angel saying, Paula, you didn't stop long enough. Now we're going to make you, which they did. And I have been in a lot of pain. And one of the things I've been saying is, thank you for this bed. Thank you for this covers. Thank you for my cats who have been with me, and my dog and my husband. Thank you so much for my husband, for everything he's done for me. He has been an absolute superstar. Thank you for the money that I've got, because I'm going to take him out for a meal as soon as I feel 100%. So you can, even in the throes of awfulness, you can find things. Thank you for the drinks that he brought me. Thank you for the ice cream, and thank you for, you can find it. But you've got to be in that process. You've got to be in that headspace, haven't you? And it's getting that. I've done all the work. I've done so much healing that I can now offer this to women. But even I still have, not relapses. I don't go all the way back, but there is that kind of, because I'm human, honest I am, and I might just start going, oh, but I wish, I want, and I have to remind myself, hang on a minute, no, look at all these beautiful things that happen. Look at all this wonder. I mean, I'm looking out this window now, and I can see all of my thousands of bluebells all over my garden, and it's gorgeous, mixed with yellow dandelions and orange poppies, and it's beautiful. And I'm so grateful to be able to look at that. Thank you for my eyes. Thank you for the eyes of all the women who are reading the magazine. That was a good circular, wasn't it?
It was. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So the title of the magazine, do you actually, you did a screen share?
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to quickly do that?
Okay.
Can you remember how to do it?
On. That one. Share. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So there.
Everyday Woman magazine.
Everyday Woman magazine, written by women, for women, to honour women. And this was the first one with me going over my favourite place called the Brook. And it's just a little bit of wood. And my husband said, Paula, that is Everyday Woman. That is you. You've got to be the number one. It's your first magazine. Be on it. So I sucked it up, and yes, it was me. And then these are all, the covers that we've done. And this is the one that came out on the 1st of May. So, yeah. So, and as I say, if you get the 1st of May now, if you could subscribe to that, you get this one and that one. But if you buy it, obviously, you just get the May one. So, and there's always freebies, because I don't give enough, do I? I like to offer women lots of freebies in it. So I've just done a 7-day spring support for menopause, which I put together, a nice little course for women. There was also a nice spring support for women to sort of check in with their body and how they're feeling over the spring. So there's lots and lots of things that I like to give away. Well, why not? Everyone likes a treat, don't they? Yeah.
Paula, it has been an absolute pleasure. We're running out of time.
We know already. Goodness. Oh, God. Okay.
So, is there anything that we haven't touched on? And I think we've touched on masses. But is there anything that you feel that we haven't touched on that you would like to share before we close?
Well, I suppose the other thing that I started after the magazine was the Everyday Talks with Paula, because I thought, well, why not? I've got 3 minutes. So I started a talk show the third one was aired last month. It's always the last Thursday of every month, and it's talking about women's issues. So the next one is going to be talking about women dealing with menopause and how society treats women and how we can help women as women. And I'm going to be talking to a woman called Gloria from America. So I talk to women all over the world, and it is just about what is affecting women every day. Yeah, so that's on my YouTube channel, which I can put lots of links and stuff down if you like.
Well, I've put your website into the chat. And Janet says, thank you both for a very interesting and enlightening evening.
Oh, you're welcome, Janet. Thank you, sweetie. And thank you for telling us about that, the writing. Absolutely. Pen pal. I'm going to look into that. Yeah.
So I've put your website on it. Is everything that we've talked about on your website, or do we need any extra links?
I think, yeah, the YouTube channel. I think I would need to put that up. Yeah.
Okay, so if you can let me have that, I will make sure that your website, that link is under the video on YouTube so that folks can go to that and they'll find the magazine on your website.
Yes, they can subscribe onto the website and they actually get the first one free, issue 1 for free.
So but it has been an absolute pleasure. And the being real is something that I absolutely love. It's what it's all about for me.
Yeah.
And sort of very touch wood, because we haven't quite finished. Everything seems to have worked. but when we get glitches, it's just like, okay, it's technology.
Well, you know, glitches are just like the world, isn't it? You know, the universe will throw you some curveballs and you have to deal with it. And find a positive way around it. It's glitches on technology is exactly the same.
Exactly. So Paula, it's been brilliant to connect with you again. Thank you so much for sharing with us. It's really appreciated.
Good to see you again.
Next week is a Today's Conversation program for you. And it's my actual co-host who's going to be our guest, or one of my co-hosts who's going to be our guest, Scott Holmes. Because he's going to be sharing about his book, From Burnout to Burning Bright. Mm. Yeah, that's also a book. That's one of the books I'm part of. Lovely. So I hope you'll consider joining us for that, because 25 people sharing their stories. Again, it's a real mix of men and women, and I hear women absolutely require support. But do you know what? I'm hearing so many men who require support as well. So I love that you're doing the women thing. And I love that Scott and others are doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
So supporting everybody. And what Janet said there, she said, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Janet.
So have you made a note of those before we go so that you've got, excellent. You take care, folks. All the best. Be safe. Be well. Namaste,